So we have a peace event for Allspark. So all of the sites made some type of peace poster, anti-bullying. So I had this pledge for the kids that they all talked about with their tutors, and then by making their handprint, it was them saying, "I'm in, I can do this." So we made the poster for our Allspark event, but it's kind of nice to have up in the hallway too. You know.
Hello, Miss Smiley.
Hi.
How you doing? Good. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now?
Well, I was preparing to go pick up my next student, but anyway, I have prepared a lesson for him where he'll be making words for me on the board. And I also have down for him where we'll be doing an enrichment with him, and that's an activity play taken from lesson 19. And also, I wrote some words down from the book that we'll be working on, the Yellow Hippo. Each day we have to have a different lesson plan for each child, and this is the one I'm going to work on with him for today.
Oh, okay.
And these are the plans that I have to work with him. And this is the other book I'll read to him, but he'll read the Yellow Hippo to me.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to make words on the sticky board for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're going to go get him right now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. We will be here.
I happen to have a lot of the leveled readers, so that was a bit much to do all of that in one sleeve. So that's why we have our binders here with the running records. But it's accessible and it's really easy for the tutors to just grab one. Some of them have copies made, others are just the masters, and they're in alphabetical order, so they can just grab one, make a copy, and be ready for the next day. Go ahead.
How do you incorporate the Kids Lit? Because that's the one thing where I'm not familiar with.
Yeah,
So,
you know, Kids Lit is actually just for our after-school program, so we don't use Kids Lit during the regular 3 times a week during
okay.
school. And over the last summer, a couple of the program managers put together a little bit more concise after school for our tutors. It seemed like after school is a little bit of a struggle. Our tutors are not necessarily all professional certified teachers, so to come up with, you know, creating all of these lessons from scratch for them was a little bit of a challenge. So we do have, and I can show you that if you're doing the after school component as well, we do have a binder that has, you know, this book, and these are vocab words, and these are activities, and it's a little bit more prepared for them by our program managers who are the certified teachers.
Okay.
And then it's a little bit more of the tutors tweaking it to fit their group, and then just being able to do it.
Okay, excellent.
They already create their lesson plans for the during school, so to ask for the after school is sometimes a bit much. The like resources and on our lesson plan, it's called enrichment activities. I started it a little bit more by the more emergent skills to the higher end.
Yes.
So we have alphabet, Play-Doh to make letters and sounds, all of that. So moving up into the blends, diagraphs, making words, sentences, that kind of stuff. But again, that was just how I chose to do it.
And that helps with the tutors too.
Right.
Depending on the student that they're tutoring. Do they tutor the same student every week?
They do, all year.
Okay, all year, great.
So each of I have 8. I started with 9 tutors here, and 1 tutor is student teaching this semester, and we were able to kind of absorb her students with the tutors that we had. So I currently have 8 tutors, and between them they see 51 students. So most of them have 6 or 7 students that they see, those same 6 or 7 3 times a week for the entire school year.
Excellent.
And then those are the kids that can come to the after-school program too. Samantha at the end table there is our tutor that works the after-school program for us.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, just Samantha does, which is why she's coming in now. The other tutors are usually here like 8 or 8:30. Samantha comes in a little bit later because then she stays for the after-school portion, but still works within the hours that we're targeting. So yeah, you can direct some after school towards her. Since we've talked about it, I'll show you. This binder is what they came up with for the after school program. So they have just some definitions of vocabulary words. It's divided by month for the whole school year. So as we go through it, they'll have the name of a book with the picture so the tutors can pick it out really easily, materials that they need for activities, vocab words, some questioning, and there's always like 2 or 3 activities that they can choose from for the same book, which would fit some of their more emergent learners and then some of their older kids that are coming in as well. So they have a book a week for each month, and it's set up for the whole school year. And then we have all the books too. So the after-school program is a little bit more set up. We have used Kids Lit in the past, just strictly Kids Lit, and that does take a little bit more of the prep work of reading the stories ahead of time, reading the stories ahead of time. The stories in Kids Lit, I think they have some really great literature in there, but the stories get so long for the kids after school. They don't have the attention span left in them to work through those longer books. So a lot of the after-school books that they chose when they redid it this summer are a little bit shorter, a little bit, more conducive to that group, shorter time span activity.
You said the book.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. And what's your role?
I'm the parent.
Okay.
So my name is Tina Eason.
Okay. And what do you actually do?
I am the communication or the liaison between the student and the parent.
Okay.
So I am the one that goes out and talk to the parents. I get them engaged because this is a very intricate part of what we do. And I don't think we would really be successful if that parent component wasn't there. So I coordinate different family events once a month. And have the families come in.
Okay.
I do tutors for our communication logs. I even provide that information to the parents. So it's
home visits?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
We do home visits, and sometimes we have to do unannounced visits.
Oh, wow.
But parents are pretty receptive, and they're open, so it works out well.
All right, so currently, what are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm getting ready to get some things together so I can show you guys.
Oh, okay.
Kind of some of the things that we do and look for, especially during our family events, we do literacy focus. But sometimes, because of the type of families that we service, we have to be able to kind of provide them with basic, kind of break it down where they can understand.
Right.
So that's kind of our role too. We provide them with different resources.
Right.
So it's a lot that comes in that.
So some of the non-academic barriers that they might deal with, food, clothing, you help out with that as well?
Not in our job description.
Right, but
we have to do it because because if they're broke down and stressed, they're not going to hear us.
Right.
So we have to try to, find out, reach beyond that to find out what is the need, so they can kind of hear us, and if they hear us, their kids benefit. And ultimately, it's about the kids.
Yeah, and your work schedule typically is what?
My work schedule is typically I work from 9:30 every day because I'm at 2 different sites.
Oh, okay.
So at this site, and I also have another site.
Okay.
So I split up my hours. So I'm kind of like.
Okay. All right then.
I'm over the board.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Have here.
I'm Steve.
All right. Steve, your role is?
I'm one of the tutors here.
Okay. So what are you doing right now?
Okay, so right now I'm planning a lesson for a student. And this is the lesson that we'll be doing on Friday. So I explained this already to someone else, but what you do is you kind of try to build your lesson around a certain skill. So right now we're working on the letters SH and how they make that sh sound together. So right now I'm looking through these bins. Maybe you want to get this on because this is really cool stuff. They have all sorts of exercises that cover different letters. So right now you see this one right here. It says H, SH, and CH. So I'm looking for an exercise that has to do with SH. So I look in this bin, and there's bound to be something in here. For instance, you get a little book called Shelley's Shell Shop. The whole book has to do with the SH sound. So when the student's reading it, it'll say, Shelley Shrek had a shell shop. It forces them to use that skill a bunch of times.
Excellent.
So that's what I'm doing.
All right. So now everything that I'm seeing deals with actual physical books. Is there any computer component or ebook component?
Sometimes people use the computer. I usually don't.
Okay.
It's not always books though. Sometimes it's worksheets or stuff like that.
Okay.
Sometimes, I mean, if there's something on there that some students connect better with the computer than actually doing it on paper, then sometimes people use it.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, if we all link to something, I don't know how familiar you
say the word so you can hear each letter.
You get the code for them.
Sky, the sky.
Okay. Some of the run records have all the error rates.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, Tails is not necessarily connected to this. These running records are just for these levels right now. The Tails levels and reading passages.
All right, who do we have here?
Samantha.
Okay, and Samantha, what do you do?
I am getting ready. I have to get a kid at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And we are going to be finishing up this book and starting this game, which works on vowel sounds. He and I have been working on particular O vowels. This is the OO, and then OA. So what you do is you put this in the middle, and then the child has to match up. Like I might say, where would moon go? And then he would say, moon goes with goose. What about road?
You're good. So now you're doing during the day, but aren't you working with the after-school program?
I only do after school on Mondays.
Oh, okay. Now, how does that differ from what you do during the day?
That is, well, I work with one at a time usually, and then I work with 2 kindergartners, but when it's after school, it can be about 10 kids.
Okay.
I was actually just making something, on Monday we read a book about Martin Luther King Jr. And so I kind of emphasized the idea of peace, and I had them write words on here that mean peace to them.
Okay.
Change it together.
All
I'm
right.
planning on hanging that up somewhere.
Okay. Now, and during the after-school program, are you in this room or? Okay. Okay.
I usually push some desks together to create a big table for all of us, so it's kind of like a team.
All right. So the difference is during the school day with the Spark program, you're one-on-one.
Yeah.
And then the after-school program,
Right.
it's small group.
Because there are a lot of kids who go to after school anyways, and then a lot of the kids who go to after school happen to be Spark students.
Okay.
So we take out those kids, and we usually read a book, and then we focus on the vocabulary that's in the book, and I ask them, what do you think this word means? And they all give me their ideas. We work on that, and then we try to do some kind of fun projects.
Okay, excellent.
Sometimes games.
Now tell me a little bit about in the
Okay.
tall
In the
grass.
tall grass.
Yeah.
This is for my kindergartners. So we use the big books, which is a lot of fun for them. And then they actually help me turn the pages because I kind of need help to turn the pages because it's kind of a big book. We haven't started reading it yet. Last time we were meaning to read it, but we started a KWL
Oh, okay.
about
Now I know what KWL is, but can you explain it a little
yeah,
bit?
sure. So, KWL, it's actually, this one is KWHL. We started with, I wanted to do caterpillars because we read a book before about caterpillars that turn into butterflies. And caterpillars are also in this book. So I was asking, what do you know about caterpillars? They eat food, they eat grass. What I want to know, how do they grow? Where do they stay? So I asked them like to formulate questions, and then I helped them figure out how to write the words, but they're actually really smart, and so they they actually knew most of the letter sounds and everything. I say grow, and then they'd say G, and then I'm like, okay, grow, and then they add the letters together. So then we'll finish this up. How I can find out, so they can either find out by reading the book, or sometimes I've gone on the computer and looked up. One of my boys was reading about hyenas. We went on the computer together and we looked up hyenas. Otherwise, for kindergartners, I might print something out about caterpillars. And then have them look at it and see what they can gather from it. And then what they learned, they'll fill that out. So yeah. Yeah, we're starting this new book today.
All right.
This is the star sheets. So they get a star every time they're here, and if they, sometimes I say if they have good behavior. So if you behave really well, then you get a star. And then once they get 10, then they get to pick out from that treasure chest over there. So that's pretty exciting. So she is going to get to the treasure chest today because she has one more left.
Oh, wow, excellent. Is that who you're gonna go get?
That's my kindergartner.
Okay,
so
okay.
that's who I get after this. But they get really excited about it, and they'll come to the Spark Room on that day, and they'll say, "I get to pick one of the $5 today."
All right. Yep. Great job. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, what kind of jobs would be like
Awesome job this morning. And I like your sentences you wrote. Very good job. You really brought the story out, and I like that. And you know what? I'm going to put your paper on the wall. It was an awesome job you did.
All right. So you just dropped off one student. What's happening now?
Now I'm going to go back and prep for my next student.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the lesson plans that you use with the students, do you prepare those, or is that something that's shared between the tutors, or?
No, we have to prepare our lesson plans the day before.
Okay.
So we have them ready when we have our students.
Okay.
So we don't have to have the students sitting and waiting.
Right.
So that's why we have time to prep also.
Okay. So you have your lesson plans are prepared in advance.
Yes.
The day before you see the student.
Yes.
That way you know exactly what you're going to cover, the
Exactly.
books and everything. How important is that you prepare?
That's very important, like I say, so we don't have the students sitting and waiting, and then we know from the day before what we have to work on with them for the next day.
Okay.
And we try to encourage them the work that they did before.
Wow.
And as we sometimes walk with them down the hallway, we walk them back to the room, and we'll have them to
We gotta go to the bathroom.
remember
Nah.
what the letter sounds of the story they read on the day before to see if they remember
Okay.
when we start with them this
Right.
morning.
So that time that you're getting the child, you're walking them to the Spark Room, and when you walk them back, you're still engaging them.
Enriching their minds.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. Excellent.
So now I'm going to go in here and prep for my next student.
Okay.
And all that I didn't finish doing yesterday, I'll do now before I go pick up my next student.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Okay. Should I explain it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what we're doing right now is working on compound words. And this is Calissa, and she works on learning how to spell big words that are made of two smaller words that she already knows. For instance, she already did this one. This one's a mailbox, which is really mail and box. Okay? So she just figured out that one, which is fireman.
This is Annie Rife Snyder. She is our school site club manager.
Okay.
Nice to meet you guys.
All
Welcome
right.
to Engelberg.
All right.
Bobby and Jasmine. But they did have a lot of questions about after school and how
Yeah.
that's working.
How the link between Spark and the after school program?
Well, Engelberg, we kind of pride ourselves in general with the CLC in having a very good relationship with the school. So myself and a number of the staff members serve on a lot of committees, and it's no different with Spark. We make sure that we're Lindsay and I communicate a lot on what students are in Spark and also how we can better help gauge reading and reading advancement through CLC as well.
Now, do you utilize the family coordinator or parent advisor? Or?
We definitely work together with those family events and make sure that our CLC staff encourages those family members to come. And then we also have had Spark tutors at our own family events that we have every month.
Okay. So we're clear, not all Spark students are club members.
Correct.
Okay.
That's something that we definitely encourage, and Lindsay does a good job of encouraging families, but certain families need different resources after school, so some don't necessarily either want nor can, pick up their students later, so need that busing or need that resource.
All right, so it's not a requirement.
Right.
Okay.
All of our after-school Spark students, though, are club members.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the Spark, there is a Spark after-school component that's strictly just Spark. They're not rolled into the Boys and Girls Club after school. You do Power Hour and all that. Okay.
We do take them during Power Hour, correct?
Okay.
So we do take them during Power Hour so that they are not missing that time. We have our tutors help with that homework a little bit when they first come in because I don't want the kids to be at a disadvantage to come to Spark after school and then not get that homework done before they go home. So the tutors do help with the after school homework for the kids while they're here, and then they do the Spark after school program following.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
And we're able to count those attendance numbers for our academic component as well. And if there is anything that the teachers have told us to work with those specific students, we'll pass that on to Spark and they implement it as well.
Okay, these are our bins. They are essentially the Words Your Way books broken down. So we do have copies of the books as well, and there's a few of them. I just grabbed a couple. The bins were made by a few program managers that this is just an easier way for tutors to access activities instead of using just purely the hardcover or the hard copies. This is the basis of our phonics and wordplay portion of our lesson plan. So it's a big deal, and it takes a lot of getting used to. They're fantastic once you figure out how to move through them all, but it takes a little practice. We have, ours are sort of in groups here. The tags show which book they came from because there's like a letters book, so this has an L on it. There's Working with Words, which has the WW. The different colors match the different words their way book that the information is from. Okay. So each unit, I'm going to throw you off now, I moved. Each unit has a beginning unit folder. So unit 1, and it's just unit 1. It doesn't break down into any other specific part. This has a pre-assessment in it for the unit. It's also the post-assessment. So we make sure that we're not using these words necessarily as teaching examples. We just wanted that to be a little more authentic. So we start each unit with this. And we try to target and remember what our goal is. So if we're assessing for beginning consonants and they misspell the middle sound, but they got the beginning consonant, it's still correct because that's what you're working with. So behind each of the unit folders then break down into sort 1, sort 2, sort 3, sort 4. This is all still unit 1, but it breaks down into each specific part of unit 1. Within the sorts then, some are a little bit more full than others depending on how much there is for it. They give you a sheet that tells you in this sort 3, these are items that you should be able to find in the bins. So we have different word sorts which look like this once they're cut up. This is a big tutor project for us when we got started, all of the making copies, cutting everything up so that it's ready for the tutors.
How many packets would you have available? Is it just for individual use for the one-on-one?
Usually, some of these sorts, there's a couple because some of them are really popular. The blends and diagraphs, Unit 3, is a really popular one for a lot of people to be working on at once. So then we do make a couple extra copies. But otherwise, the tutors can use this and put it back. Otherwise, some of the other items, they make copies Books, these are our sound symbol books, which are really fairly simple. You know, D is for deer, deer. They'll make copies of this and send it home with the kids frequently as something to, you know, extend to their homes.
Yes.
So within these we have word sorts, we have the sound symbol books. This would be a master copy of a word sort to show which ones all have that, you know, it would start with the C. This would be the, like, kind of a review. So you might mix up all of these pictures and have these as your headers, so they need to put them under the correct heading. Beyond that, there's usually a flip book, which this one says there aren't any, but I can show you in another one. And then readers that will repeat whatever your beginning sound is. This book is, you know, has a lot of A sounds in it. So there's various materials for that one skill.
Okay.
So they can go through here and use what they feel like is appropriate for their student for that skill.
Yes.
If they're working through this and it seems like, you know, after a day the kids really gotten it, they move on. They go on to the next sort.
Unit section.
Exactly. If they need more, then that's where a lot of the enrichment activities come in, to just build in some more activities to practice it. Every once in a while, you know, they'll get most of it, but they have a little part that they're not getting. So you kind of move on to that next sort and fill in the blank a little bit with a little review on that one part that they're needing
Reinforcement as they're going into the new unit.
Exactly. So they would work through Unit 1, the different level, the different letters in each sort, and then when they get to the end of Unit 1, they would go back into that post-test. So it's a little bit of their own observation that a child is ready for that post-test, and then they give that post-test to them. The place where they start in the VINs comes from the PALS data, so not every child's going to start with Unit 1. If they don't need to work on their beginning sounds, they're going to skip to where it is more appropriate for them. So with the PALS data, we look at, are you familiar with PALS?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you see on the bottom, you know, what their score was in short vowels and what their score was in Blunt's diagram, that's where we're getting the information from.
Okay. You have that pre-test from the PALS.
Exactly.
They do carry, but what does this word for? Let's sound it out. This is the I that makes the I sound, so not the I. It says I.
When you look at it, you can see the first, just